Zhao Jun has an unknown secret, and she and His Royal Highness the First Emperor thousands of years ago are netizens. Every time you give some cheap water glass or something, you can exchange it for various gemstones. But suddenly one day, she came to the state of Qin for some reason. Meet with Ying Zheng. Well, if I say that I am the netizen who has communicated with you before, do you believe me? Or can you also call me a fairy? Isn't it true that Emperor Qin Shi Huang has always been superstitious? A fairy like me who appeared out of thin air should be very respected, right? Ying Zheng. Fairy. Someone, hurry up and catch her. Since you're here, don't think about leaving. Let's build an empire together. Reading Guide. 1. This article has a male lead, who is Ying Zheng, with a micro-emotional connection, mainly focusing on the female lead's career. 2. Not entirely based on history, there have been changes. I hope everyone doesn't take it too seriously and has a good time. 3. Because infrastructure documents may involve many knowledge blind spots, we will make efforts to search for information and try not to make mistakes. We welcome everyone to correct us, but try not to argue. Alright, that's it. I hope everyone reads the article happily and loves you. Keywords of the novel. I lead the system to tease Emperor Qin Shi Huang for infrastructure without pop-ups. I lead the system to tease Emperor Qin Shi Huang for infrastructure. Download the complete TXT collection, and I lead the system to tease Emperor Qin Shi Huang for infrastructure. Read the latest chapters on infrastructure. Chapter 1. Surface Foundation. You are listening at Novel FUL.audio. The source has no content or has errors. Chapter 2. System. You are listening at Novel FUL.audio. Chapter 2 System. Everything happened too quickly, and by the time Zhao Jun reacted, she had already been imprisoned. No, what kind of nonsense is this? Qin Shi Huang is so indiscriminate, no wonder Qin too died. After a brief period of depression, the quiet environment gradually made her heart sink. What's going on? How could it suddenly come to the state of Qin? This is the most famous spring and autumn and warring states period in history, and there is also the renowned 100 schools of thought and Jixia Academy. There are also the 3 emperors of Degao, who have made contributions to the 5 emperors and completed the first unified Qin Shi Huang in history, provided that he did not imprison himself. So what should we do now? Hello, don't be in a daze. Suddenly, a voice rang out. The sudden sound of who is speaking aroused Zhao Jun's extreme nervousness. Don't be nervous, I am talking to you through your consciousness, or you can continue to call me Little Mirror. A small mirror. Zhao Jun suddenly patted his head. Yes, Little Mirror. It seems that everything now is caused by that mirror. Let her talk to Emperor Qin Shi Huang, and now she's brought to the state of Qin. Alright, you're the culprit. No, how could you say that to me? You also really like that gold, don't you? The innocent voice of the mirror rang out. Can you hear what I'm thinking? Nonsense, it's all about conscious communication. Of course I can know what you're thinking. Alright, let's talk about how I can go back first. Finally, Zhao Jun felt some clues and was eager to ask clearly. I can't go back, the mirror said presumptuously. What? Zhao Jun, who had just ignited a glimmer of hope, suddenly became anxious. No, you don't even have after-sales service. You don't even ask customers' opinions and just send me over. Can't you return it yet? Yes, this mirror will not be returned once sold, the mirror said calmly without any shame. Okay, I gave up struggling. If I can't go back, then I can't go back. Anyway, I don't have much attachment in that world. So, what's the use of you appearing now? Just to tell me this bad news. Tired, she chose to lie flat. Of course not, I'm still very useful. You were able to exchange items with the outside world through me, but now you can also communicate with other worlds through me. Standing up in shock from dying illness. What you're saying is true. I can also exchange items with other worlds. Can you pick the world I came from? Sorry, it's not possible. The connections in the world are random, and I can't control them either. Can I connect with many worlds at once, or can I always connect with only one? At present, you can only contact one, but as your contribution value increases, you can gradually unlock multiple worlds. Why does the more you say this in the mirror, the more confused it becomes? Contribution value. So what is that? As the name suggests, it means your contribution to this world. I don't know how to increase it, but the higher it is, the better. What is my current contribution value? The mirror hesitated to speak. Is it 0? You can guess, how could I possibly contribute now? Zhao Junfu has laid down again, and so far it's not all bad news. Your current contribution value is indeed not significant, it's a total of -10. Hi, I knew it wasn't there. I expected. Wait a minute. -10. There are still negative numbers. Sitting on the brink of death, I can't sit up anymore. Make it clear, did I kill or set fire? I just arrived in this world, and even if I don't contribute, it shouldn't be a negative number. Should it be a ghost caused by Ying Zheng? No, this -10 is because in the original world, you had to contribute value to trading with him, but at that time you didn't, and I was still asleep, so the system just accounted for it. The mirror awkwardly smiled twice. I want to report you, this is fraud, blatant fraud. It's really heartbreaking to be in debt before I even start working. But you don't have to worry too much, the contribution value is still easy to earn. So, I'll help you open the world connection now. The mirror smiled with a guilty smile and relentlessly began searching for the world. Do you still want to deceive me? You don't even know what the contribution value is, and you're willing to brush it. Zhao Jun has thoroughly understood the true face of this deceitful system. Well, the world has been searched, you can try to contact it now. The mirror quickly shifted the topic and gestured. Really, I just need to speak directly, right? Zhao Jun sat up again, cleared his throat, and began speaking. Hello, is anyone there? Don't be afraid, you can call me a fairy. Hello. After a while, there was no movement at all. Quiet and eerie. What's the situation? Are you broken or haven't connected successfully? Zhao Jun asked in confusion. How could it be? It shows that the world has been successfully connected and someone over there has accepted it. What is the current situation? If someone accepts it, how could there be no one speaking? It's because your signal is not working, right? She spoke in a skeptical tone. After all, this system has a long history. How could it be? My signal is normal, and there is currently no sound. There is only one possibility. He is not speaking, or he doesn't want to speak, or he can't speak temporarily. You can try contacting him tomorrow. Can't speak. Alright, I don't know what's going on over there, what kind of world it is. I hope it's a high-tech world so we can switch to higher-level things. The night is already very late. The faint candlelight is still burning. Zhao Jun gradually fell asleep in his fantasy of another world. The last thought before going to bed is how on earth should we deal with Ying Zheng tomorrow. End of this chapter. Chapter 3. Building Empires. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 3. Building Empires. The next day, Zhao Jun slept until 3 poles above the sun. Whether to say or not, Ying Zheng probably didn't want to make things difficult for her. He just locked her up in an empty room and didn't take her to the prison. She rubbed her sore eyes, got up, twisted her waist, and moved around. When exactly did Ying Zheng come to find her? She couldn't just hang herself here all the time. Besides, she didn't see anyone delivering food to her. Did she want to starve to death? Suddenly, Just as Zhao Jun stretched lazily and was about to start shouting, a few faint sounds came from outside, as if someone was speaking. Have you heard that the young master of FUL has been punished by the king again? Why is a gentle person like Prince FUL? I heard that the young master was speaking for Lord Chongping in court today, and you also know the king's temper. He was furious and punished the young master at that time. Forget it, these are not things we should worry about. Let's hurry up and fetch ice for the Empress Dowager. Sigh, there isn't much ice in such a hot heavenly palace. Let's go quickly. Zhao Jun listened attentively for a few words. It should be a maid in the palace. I don't know if someone is whispering in private in this room. However, according to the meaning behind their words, Ying Zheng's mood may not be too good today. It's better to be careful when he speaks later. Sure enough, someone arrived soon, and two burly soldiers took her to Ying Zheng's dormitory, which was the room from last night. Along the way, Zhao Jun looked around and found that the architecture of the Qin Emperor's palace in this era was completely inferior to the later Forbidden City. It was not so magnificent, but rather had a feeling of being disheveled. It was probably that he had not yet begun to exploit the blood of the laborers. As he approached the dormitory, Zhao Jun saw a figure kneeling at the door from a distance. It wasn't until he approached that he realized it was a child of about 12 or 13 years old. He knelt straight, with a mournful expression on his face. "Fusu Gongzi, please don't do this. The king asked you to get up and go back to the palace," said a stooped attendant. "Father still refuses to see me," the young man lowered his eyebrows and whispered softly. "Young master, just listen to my advice. It's better not to worry about the affairs of the Chu state. The king won't listen, so why bother with the king's misfortune?" After speaking, the eunuch didn't say anything and went straight back. "Your Majesty, I have brought you here. All right, you all go down and don't let anyone in." Finally, Zhao Jun saw Ying Zheng again. Unlike the dim candlelight from last night, Zhao Jun looked carefully at the man not far away today. I think no one would be curious about this legendary emperor, and Zhao Jun is no exception. He looks very young, dressed in a dark black robe, with long hair neatly tied up high, a pair of phoenix eyes that are not intimidating and self-angry. There are traces of frowning on his eyebrows all year round, and his sharp thin lips may indicate that he is a fickle person. When his eyes look over, you can feel that there are surging waves and a domineering aura sweeping everything. "Hello King, I didn't expect us to meet one day. I believe you have some faith in what I said last night. That glass over there is exactly what I gave you on the third day we met." It seems that last night's mirror gave her some confidence, and Zhao Jun was not so afraid anymore. She had the capital to exchange. Since Zhao Jun entered, Ying Zheng has been silently observing her, and he has been 9% convinced of her background. "How did you suddenly appear here, and what was your purpose for coming here?" He sat on the couch, staring at Zhao Jun. "I came here by fate. You will become the eternal emperor who will rule the world in the future, and I am here to help you." Zhao Jun said half-truthfully, "But let's not tell him about the mirror for now." "Oh really, what can you help me with? Didn't you say you're a fairy? Then you give me an elixir of immortality first." "No, Ying Zheng, if you export the elixir of immortality, no wonder you were deceived by Su Fu. Well, this elixir of immortality is not available." Zhao Jun glanced at Ying Zheng's gloomy face. "However, it doesn't mean there won't be any in the future, right? If the system can connect to the immortal world in the future, wouldn't it be possible? Let's draw the big cake first." "Really, what if you don't live until then?" he threatened. "How could it be? As a great talent like me, I believe you will not waste it. I will definitely work hard to help you build an empire and show you my abilities." Why does this sound so familiar to me? It seems like a big cake I drew for my boss when I was applying for a job. Now, Ying Zheng is like my boss. The difference is that my previous boss could only decide my salary, while my current boss can decide my life or death. Okay, I'll give you a chance to stay in the state of Qin and build the empire well. Ying Zheng suddenly spoke in a loud voice, which frightened Zhao Jun. In this way, I will first appoint you as the Empress Dowager and temporarily reside in the palace. You must quickly think about how to build the empire, he shouted outside. Sun Cheng, this is the newly appointed Empress Dowager. She will be serving in front of the palace in the future. Please arrange it. The one who walked in was the previous attendant, who responded and took Zhao Jun out. Let me take you to your place of residence first. This is where you live. Most of the people who serve as imperial guards live here, and they are close to each other. The room is for 2 people, and Qin Lu is living with you. She should have gone as a guard. By the way, I don't know the girl's name yet. Along the way, Sun Qing secretly scrutinized the sudden appearance of the female historian. He had never heard of it before. Could it be the one raised by the king? Oh, my name is Zhao Jun. I already know the basics. By the way, let me ask where the dining room is. She has already asked quite a few questions along the way, so let's rely on the future to learn more. She still needs to take care of her stomach first. She hasn't eaten since last night and is already starving. Oh, the dining room is to the west. Just walk along this road and you'll be there. I won't see you off, I'll have to go back and work as a servant. Okay, it's okay. I'll just go over by myself. You're busy. Zhao Jun saw Sun Qing off and immediately walked towards the dining room. In no time, she saw a relatively small house with only 3 or 4 people on duty. Standing aside, she happened to meet the person in front of the emperor who came to fetch food for Ying Zheng. She quickly glanced at a pile of dishes that she didn't know were piled up in the bowl, looking as though she had no appetite. Suddenly, she felt uneasy about the lunch that followed. Who are you? Are you here to pick up lunch? A middle-aged woman shouted at Zhao Jun, who was standing still. What are you still waiting for? Come and pick it up quickly. The woman warmly waved at her. Well, I'm from Yuqian, here to pick up lunch. Zhao Jun hesitated and walked into the dining room. Yo Yuqian, come and pick it up quickly. Today's lunch includes chuanju and pickled meat, both delicious things. The aunt warmly greeted her and brought her 2 bowls of vegetables. Zhao Jun silently looked at the delicious food she said to her. Chuanzao, I don't know what kind of sauce it's made from, it's sticky and piled up together, with a slight fishy smell. Pickled meat, it looks like lamb slices with a strong mutton flavor. She looked for a while and still didn't get down. Is this something very delicious? It seems that I have no knowledge of the hardships of this era. End of this chapter. Chapter 4. Fill your stomach before building an empire. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 4. Fill your stomach before building an empire. Little girl, what are you waiting for? Hurry up and take it back to eat. If it gets cold, it won't taste good anymore. Zhao Jun looked at the enthusiastic look in his aunt's eyes and silently withdrew his hand, letting her eat these things. Perhaps she couldn't swallow them. That lady, can I cook by myself? I'll leave these delicious things for you to eat. Zhao Jun smiled kindly, as she might not be able to bear it. Ah, you have to do it yourself. Isn't there a ready-made one? Can't I cook by myself? My taste is a bit peculiar and I may not be used to these delicious foods. Alright, Chai sang, if she wants to do it, let her do it herself, but I warn you not to waste it. This food has a quantity, said the chubby uncle sitting at the bottom, looking at his appearance as if he was holding a spoon. Okay, I definitely won't waste it, thank you, uncle. Zhao Jun excitedly walked into the kitchen and looked around, feeling a little disheartened. Without chili peppers, Sichuan peppers, chicken essence, soy sauce, cooking wine, there is only the simplest oil and salt. I don't know what kind of oil it is, but it's a dark yellow lump that solidifies together, not like lard. No wonder the food it makes is not delicious, there are no seasonings. Looking at the ingredients piled up next to her, a pot of unknown vegetable leaves, a large fan of lamb, a small amount of chicken, and a pile of things she didn't even know. When Zhao Jun saw the kitchen utensils on the stove, his eyes became even darker. She is not too unfamiliar with the kitchen utensils above, because they are very expensive in later museums. It is a medium-sized bronze round cauldron with a round mouth and handles in all directions, deep like a bottle. Although it may be expensive thousands of years later, it cannot be denied that it is not a pot. Such a design cannot stir-fry vegetables, it can only be used for stewing soup. A clever woman cannot cook without a pot. Even if Zhao Jun knows how to cook without a pot, she is powerless. It seems that she can only deal with it first. She will have to find someone to make a pot in the afternoon. But we need to make lunch for now. Zhao Jun had seen the flour in the vat early in the morning. Since he could only stew soup, he would like to have a bowl of noodles in soup, which should be accessible. As she spoke, she quickly took action, and the unpurified flour turned pale yellow. It was mixed into a small dough by her, rolled into thin pancakes, and finally cut into slender noodles. She used a plant that looked like onions to squeeze the pot, and soon a simple bowl of water-boiled noodles was ready. Although it wasn't very fragrant, it could only be done in such a harsh environment. Alright, I just made the bowl of noodles. There's a little more in the pot you can try. Zhao Jun picked up a bowl and started eating in the kitchen. Oh my, you are really good at cooking. The noodles are well mixed and the taste is also good. Just now, Mrs. Chai Sang sat on the side and watched her cooking technique, knowing that she is a good cook. She scooped up a bowl of noodle soup and tasted it very well. No. For Zhao Jun, who had tasted countless delicious dishes later on, this bowl of noodles was indeed average, but for Chai Sang and the others, it was already very good. By the way, Auntie, I want to find someone to make an iron pot for cooking. Who should I go to? Iron tools, I don't know about this, do you know, Lao AI? The old lady shouted at the uncle just now at the top of her throat. Zhao Jun silently turned his head to look at him. Go to the east utensil and ask someone, they are responsible for packing things. Zhao Jun nodded at the utensil. After finishing lunch, she wobbled back to her room to rest. Mirror, she murmured silently. I'm here, what's wrong? I've been listening to you complaining all afternoon. The system's voice came in, indicating that it's still there. Can you hear everything I think? Then I don't have any privacy. It's not like if you have something you don't want me to listen to, you can tell me in advance and I'll turn on the blocking. Oh, that's not available for now. By the way, could you help me connect again? I can't keep in touch. Zhao Jun returned to the room, but Qing Lu was still not there, which was convenient for her to contact. Okay, I'll open the world connection now. The sound of the mirror came in a moment, telling her that the connection had been successful. Zhao Jun sounded out and hoped that someone could reply this time. Hello, is anyone there? Don't worry, I'm a good person, I just want to do some business with you. You, who are you? Finally, a voice came from the other end, sounding like a little girl. She spoke timidly. Hello, my name is Zhao Jun and I'm not a bad person. Can you tell me your country and name? Zhao Jun, it's similar. Walking around the world always requires a pseudonym. It sounds like the girl across from her is not very old and may be very timid. Zhao Jun tried to speak gently to avoid scaring her. Hello, my name is Sophia. This is the continent of St. Palos. Are you a legendary devil, sister? Sophia, St. Palos, sounds like a Western fantasy kingdom, but unfortunately she is not very familiar with this kind of kingdom. Sophia, of course I'm not a devil. Yeah, but the book says only demons like to make deals with people. The devil is only taking it unilaterally, and our transaction is fair. If you give me something, I will also give it to you. This is an exchange, and you can treat me as a merchant from a distant country. Okay, it doesn't sound like you're a demagogical devil. So what do you want to exchange? I'm just an ordinary commoner, not a nobleman. If you want to exchange something very expensive, I'm afraid I can't do it. Of course not, I only exchange what you can get, but I'm not sure what you have there yet. Can you introduce me to it? Zhao Jun had no understanding of everything about their continent, and did not know how their lives had developed. Naturally, he couldn't remember what to exchange for at the moment. Well, we live in a small country called the Moon Shadow Country under the continent of San Palos, where there are the most beautiful and diverse flowers on the entire continent. My mother runs a bakery and she makes delicious bread. My father runs a grocery store with many strange things inside. I also have an older brother helping my father keep a shop. In a few days, it will be the annual 100 Flowers Festival, and there will be many people from other countries coming to play. The people in the palace also come out, and there are many wandering poets. I love them the most. Every time they come, they bring beautiful travelogues. Sophia seemed to have opened her mouth and chattered incessantly about this 100 Flowers Festival, her excitement overflowing in her words. The bakery, grocery store, this is really a big gain, especially the grocery store. There must be something Zhao Jun needs there. As for what to do this time, she has already made a decision. Isn't this a pillow when she was dozing off? She just said there was nothing bad to eat here, so she brought a bakery to her. Sophia, I've already figured out what I want to exchange with you. Can you give me an oven and some yeast powder? She has no experience in making an oven, so she can simply change it and try making it herself. As for yeast, making bread naturally requires yeast. Great, she will soon have fragrant and soft bread to eat. End of this chapter. Chapter 5 Unlocking Event. Jing Ku Assassination of Qin. You are listening at Novel FUL.audio. The source has no content or has errors. Chapter 6. I love corn. I love tomato scrambled egg. You are listening at Novel FUL.audio. Chapter 6 I love corn. I love tomato scrambled egg. Zhao Jun eagerly waited for tomorrow's arrival, but finally met her roommate Qinglu in the evening. Zhao Nu Shuren, I am Qinglu. Sun Neishi has already instructed me. If you have any questions in the future, feel free to come to me. The woman in front of me is about 29 years old, dressed in green clothes as her name suggests. She is actually younger than her but looks very stable. Qinglu, right. You're welcome. Let's just have a normal conversation. What exactly are you doing in the palace? Why haven't you seen anyone for a whole day? Zhao Jun relaxed and sat by the bed, watching the person standing straight pull her down. Returning to the history of women, our company's etiquette requires us to be on duty at the East Second Institute every day, Qinglu said in a polite manner. Be polite, no wonder your actions are strict. Speaking of which, she has a good position and can be considered a small head. Zhao Jun chatted with her briefly again, then rested early. He was on edge all night last night, and finally had a good night's sleep today. The next day, Zhao Jun slept until the third pole of the sun as he wished. Qinglu was long gone in the room, and the first thing she did when she woke up was to call out the little mirror, 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 hurry up, connect to the world line over there, can't wait to welcome my fragrant bread, Zhao Jun urged after finishing his wash without stopping. Don't worry, we're connecting. The sound of the mirror was somewhat helpless. Connection successful. Sophia, are you there? I'm Zhao Jun said gently, holding back his excitement. I'm here, the oven and yeast you requested are already ready. How can I give it to you? The girl's voice came from over there. In this way, you can put things in front of the mirror and recite my name silently, and at the same time, I will also give you the gold. In no time, an oven and a large bag of yeast powder appeared in Zhao Jun's room, and at the same time, she sent the gold nuggets over. Did you receive the item? I received a big gold nugget, it's really precious," the girl's excited voice came in. "Just receive it. If you think it's valuable, can you give me some more things?" Zhao Jun silently calculated. "Sure, this piece of gold can buy 100 ovens. What else do you want? Do you have any high-yield seeds on your end? I am very short of seeds, and any variety is fine. Of course, it's better to have high yields and easy to grow. The oven is only temporary, and of course, the most important thing is the ability to grow and harvest a large amount of food. In just one day, she can feel the single shortage of food even in the Qin palace, let alone those ordinary people. As for the seeds, I have them at home now. After the 100 Flowers Festival, it's time to plant corn season by season. Our family has already prepared the seeds in advance. If you need them, you can give them a bag." Corn. Great, indeed corn is definitely one of the most important food products in the Western world. At the beginning, corn seeds were one of the essential seeds in her heart. Although its yield could not reach 1,500 kilograms per mu of hybrid varieties in later generations, even if it produced 700.800 kilograms per mu, it was still not enough for current crops to catch up. I really need corn seeds. Could you please distribute as much as possible? If you have anything you want later, you can come to me. It's okay, we have a lot of things at home that can accommodate you. By the way, we also have my favorite wolf peach seeds at home. They taste so good, sour and sweet. Do you need them? Wolf peach. This name sounds familiar, what plant does it come from? Zhao Jun patted her head in confusion, and after a while, she finally remembered. Wolf peach, isn't that the name of the tomato from the beginning? Sour and sweet cold mixed tomatoes, tomato scrambled eggs. Zhao Jun, are you still there? Sophia hurriedly shouted. Ah, I'm here, Wolf Peach, right. I want as much as I want, and I'll bring you another piece of gold tomorrow. Zhao Jun waved his small hand and said boldly. Why, are wolf peaches better than corn? In terms of production, they certainly cannot compare, but things like Shihuang and Erlangto can be grown in front and behind the house, which can increase happiness. It can better satisfy the appetite of craving insects. Okay, just a moment, I'll go to the cellar at home and get your things right away. Zhao Jun Gang was about to agree when the mirror, which had been silent for a long time, suddenly made a sound. Hey, have you forgotten something? Oh, what are you saying at this moment? I'm about to have corn and tomatoes, rub your hands. Zhao Jun looked expectant. I need to remind you that the system can only exchange items once a day, said the mirror mechanically. If it has a face, it should be a group of expressionless and indifferent people at this moment. Silent, it's over, how could I forget about this? That, Sophia, wait a moment. I won't be able to get it today. Sophia, who was about to leave the room, suddenly stopped and asked in confusion, what's going on? Is something urgent happening? Have I told you before that we can only exchange items once a day, and today's permissions have already been used, so we may have to wait until tomorrow? Zhao Jun was very regretful. Although waiting for an extra day was not a big deal for her, the feeling of not being able to open a gift that she already knew was something she liked was too uncomfortable. Oh, it's like this. Alright, I'll be delivering it to you tomorrow. I can go buy some seeds for you today. Zhao Jun's eyes lit up for a moment. Really, that's great. Thank you so much, Sophia. It's okay, then goodbye for now. Okay, see you tomorrow. After turning off the call, Zhao Jun sat on the bed and froze for a moment until he saw the nearby oven and finally regained his excitement. She struggled to hold the oven and bring yeast to the dining room. Just as she was panting heavily, she finally arrived at the entrance of the dining room, only to see a large group of people gathered together lively discussing something. Zhao Jun leaned forward and asked, what's wrong with this? Zhao Nushi is here. I don't know who shouted, but the people around scattered, revealing what was being watched by them. It was the iron pot she had someone make yesterday, and I didn't expect the people at the utensils to move quite quickly. Zhao Nushi, the person at the utensil department, said that you asked someone to take this and have it delivered directly to the kitchen. What kind of thing is this? It was the same old lady Chai sang from yesterday who walked over first and asked. This is called an iron pot, and it can be used to make very delicious food. Pot. I haven't seen a pot of this shape before. Can it really make delicious food? The lady looked suspicious. Of course, I'll show off later, Zhao Jun smiled confidently. Zhao Nushi, what is the thing you moved over with? Sitting beside her talking was the old AI who pointed her the way yesterday, only he noticed that Zhao Jun had brought something in. I almost forgot, that was an oven, also used for cooking and eating. It can be used to make delicious baked bread. Bread. What kind of thing is that? Several chefs looked at each other. Alright, you guys bring the things in first. Today, I'll let you taste what's called delicious food. End of this chapter. Chapter 7. Pleasing the Boss. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 7. Pleasing the boss. Things were gradually moved into the kitchen by everyone, with Mrs. Chai Sang and a few other unfamiliar chefs gathered around, intending to watch the entire scene. Zhao Jun certainly doesn't mind them watching. Originally, she was meant to teach them. She doesn't often cook, so she still has to rely on her masters to learn on her own. Alright, you guys don't know how to cook. Let's stand away first. The uncle surnamed AI finally stood up and walked to her side. Yeah, Lao AI, you're the head chef and the head chef of the pantry. You're the best at it. You learn first and then teach us, which saves us so many people from being surrounded here. Madame Chai Sang said confidently, and it was obvious that the others had no objections either. Okay, then Director AI must have talent. Zhao Jun doesn't mind these things too much. Whoever learns is not learning. She rolled up her sleeves and began to get busy. The first thing she made was bread, because the fermentation of bread took some time. She put the dough in a bowl to fully ferment before turning around and preparing to stir fry. With the frying pan, she became much more adept at making it. Coincidentally, there was fresh beef in the kitchen, and she planned to make a stir-fried beef dish. Heat up the wok with cold oil, without chili peppers or onions. Zhao Jun used a large amount of ginger, Sichuan peppercorns, and cornice to stir-fry and create a spicy flavor. Then, add beef and stir-fry, and finally add some unknown wild vegetables. A delicious stir-fry of beef is served. With limited seasoning, she used the same method to stir-fry a dish of mushroom chicken. In an instant, the entire dining room was filled with this strange aroma. Although there was no chili, the effect of Sichuan pepper was also very good, at least more satisfying than yesterday's plain noodles. Is this stir-frying? AI followed her without blinking. When the strange aroma came, he knew he had lost. This method could make the food more delicious. That's right, this is speculation. You can think about it yourself when you have nothing to do. Actually, I'm not doing very well either, it's just that you haven't mastered this method. Now that you've learned it, maybe in a few days, you'll be even better than me. The whole kitchen was staring intently at these two dishes, and even the sound of people swallowing saliva could be heard. Alright, you can take out 2 portions of insulation first, and you can share the rest. Madame Chai Sang runs the fastest, even tasting the taste before Adu. Quickly, everyone held a portion in their hands, and there was silence all around except for the sound of chewing. Zhao Jun ignored them and divided the fermented dough into several parts and sent them to the oven. Zhao Nushi, this stir-fried dish is really delicious. Can we eat it every day in the future? Chai Sang looked at the clean plate and couldn't help but sigh. Of course, Chef AI has already learned how to do it. Let him do it in the future. Zhao Jun turned around and saw that the corners of their mouths were all oily, but the light in their eyes seemed to be popping out. Indeed, it was food that could bring people the most happiness. After a while, the bread was almost baked, and she was about to put on gloves when AI-Do snatched it first. The temperature is high, let me do it. AI-Do has a thick cocoon on his hands, and he often touches things with high temperatures in the kitchen. Okay, be careful, just take it out and put it on the table. Zhao Jun didn't stop him from directing beside him. Quickly, round and swollen buns were taken out one by one. The freshly cooked bread still carries heat, and the overall color is light yellow, similar to the color of whole wheat bread. In two of them, she slightly added a few nuts, but overall there is no difference. Soon, the people in the kitchen were attracted to bread again. Zhao Jun was the first to taste it, and it tasted good with a slight nutty aroma. She finished a loaf of bread with this stir-fried dish, feeling a long-awaited satisfaction in her stomach. But others were still eagerly watching. Alright, leave one with the other dishes and I'll take them away. You'll share the rest. Zhao Jun wiped her mouth. She was already full, but her boss still had to let him know where his piece of gold had gone. Zhao Jun nodded and carried the food box, showing off. When she arrived at the front hall, Sun Neishi greeted her from afar. Oh my, Zhao Nushi, today was her first day on duty. Why did you come now? The king just asked you, but I sent someone to look for you but couldn't find you. Sun Cheng said anxiously and suddenly saw the food box in her hand. Are you delivering meals for the king? Yeah, I made it myself, give the king a try. Zhao Jun felt a little guilty at the bottom of her heart. She was considered absent from work, but when she saw that what she was doing was becoming more complicated, it seemed that she had to explain to the king in the future that she didn't clock in and could only work from home or work outside. Okay, go in quickly. It's time for the king to rest and prepare for lunch. Sun Cheng hurriedly escorted her in. Hello, king. As soon as Zhao Jun entered, she saw Ying Zheng sitting in front of the desk, looking at the bamboo slips. She said hello in a loud voice. Sit down, Ying Zheng put down the bamboo slip and said to her. No, I haven't been to work for half a day. Why does my boss seem to be in a good mood? King, you haven't had lunch yet, have you? I made it specifically for you in the kitchen this morning. You can try it and it will be delicious. Zhao Jun placed the food box on the ground and brought out the lunch in front of Ying Zheng. This is what you messed up yesterday. Ying Zheng asked the maid next to her to bring water to wash her hands, picked up her chopsticks, and moved them. He didn't have much feelings for his appetite, as long as he could have a satisfying stomach. Moreover, the cook in the palace was already the best, and the only thing that moved him a little was the fragrant Sichuan pepper that came from his face. No one knows that Ying Zheng's favorite fragrance is Sichuan pepper fragrance. There are several Sichuan pepper sachets in his dormitory, but it is rare to use Sichuan pepper for cooking. He picked up a few chopsticks of beef without expressing any opinion. De Wang, try this bread again. It's freshly baked and delicious, Zhao Jun kindly recommended. Ying Zheng gave her a faint glance and picked up the bread. Zhao Jun watched him quietly finish everything without making any comments or even changing his expression. Does Ying Zheng not like stir-frying? The taste is good, it would be even better if the taste of cornice was stronger. Ying Zheng calmly wiped his mouth and asked someone to remove the plate. The taste of cornice officinalis. That's just spicy. It turns out that Ying Zheng is also a spicy party. I sent someone to investigate the Crown Prince Dan. Ying Zheng put away his lazy demeanor and suddenly became sharp, saying. What's going on? Is the topic changing so suddenly? Zhao Jun hasn't reacted yet. We did find Jing Ku and Qin Wuyang. He spoke slowly, as if talking about irrelevant matters, rather than the person who wanted to assassinate him. How about it? Are you sure what I said? Zhao Jun reacted, you should handle the person. Zhao Jun is quite regretful that such a historical and dramatic character has been solved like this, and she has never seen anyone before. Who said I dealt with someone? Ying Zheng said calmly, his lowered eyes covering the depths of his eyes. Didn't you handle it? When she said this thing yesterday, Ying Zheng was already very angry. Now that she has identified the problem, she hasn't actually taken action. Zhao Jun is very puzzled. Ying Zheng touched the bamboo slips on the table. Wouldn't it be too simple to deal with them now? Kind reminder, the Qin state does not allow the consumption of beef from cultivated land. The beef here is one of the few tribute from other countries in the palace. Later on, I will specifically write a chapter about beef and mutton, when someone was involved in animal husbandry. Thank you all for your reminder, I love you all. End of this chapter. Chapter 8. Experimental Fields. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 8 Experimental Fields. The day after tomorrow, the envoy of Prince Dan went to court to pay his respects. You went with me that morning. Wait a minute. How come I don't understand what you're talking about? What's the meaning of attending court? Zhao Jun suddenly said, not only did you not deal with them, but you even let them into the palace to kill you. Humph, who killed who? He said fiercely. That's right, now that Ying Zheng knows about this matter and even lets them go to the palace, he must be catching turtles in a jar. Alright, let's not talk about this anymore. You'll just come up with these things in the next few days. Ying Zheng glanced at her with a sideways glance. Zhao Jun understood this look. The boss is not satisfied with your progress. Of course not, in fact, I have already achieved significant results. I am about to report to the king, and of course, I also need the king to provide necessary assistance. Zhao Jun moved forward slightly. Really, here you go. Ying Zheng waved his hand and felt quite good. I have some corn seeds here. If sown well, the yield per mu can reach at least 700.800 kilograms. What you're saying is true. Before Zhao Jun could finish speaking, Ying Zheng suddenly stood up from his seat, and the loud voice scared Zhao Jun half to death. The grandchild outside the palace and the inner attendant trembled with heart and liver. What's wrong with this, causing the king to be angry? Ying Zheng's sharp gaze was fixed on her, and Zhao Jun didn't dare to look up, so he carefully glanced at her and said. Of course it's true. When did I lie? Okay, if this happens, I will reward you heavily. Ying Zheng nodded his finger forcefully. This is the first time Zhao Jun has seen him so excited, and there must be no one who can match Ying Zheng's enthusiasm for building an empire. Where is the seed now? Let me take a look. Ying Zheng looked around at her, not realizing that she was carrying something. I'll put the seeds away for now, but I can't get them at the moment. Besides, I have something else to ask the king for help. Zhao Jun waved her clean sleeve, but of course she can't take them out now. What's going on, say it. Ying Zheng suppressed his excitement and regained his usual dignity, then sat down again. I hope the king can allocate me a piece of land as an experimental field, preferably with some strong helpers, so that when the results of planting in the experimental field are achieved, the king can also see the yield with his own eyes, so that it can be promoted to various states and counties. This was something Zhao Jun had planned before. Although she had seeds, she had never personally planted them, and she didn't know if the seeds could adapt to the climate and soil of Xianyang, and if the yield would be reduced. Therefore, it was necessary to open an experimental field. No problem, in this way, the land in the western suburbs of Xianyang is vacant and close to the palace. I will allocate a team of colonel and taizan commanders to you when the time comes. Okay, thank you very much, king. Zhao Jun was happy in his heart, and finally someone could command him. The yield of this corn is really so high. How long will you be able to grow it? The growth cycle of corn is generally around 100.130 days, and the specific period may depend on the planting process. Okay, the most important thing for you now is to do this well. I am really looking forward to the immortal being able to make a difference. A faint gentleness suddenly appeared on Ying Zheng's usually cold and stern face, and she even began to call her a fairy. It seemed that the charm of food was still great. I dare not, I will definitely work hard and cheer on, hee. A single piece of corn makes Ying Zheng's attitude so good. So when I come up with wheat, potatoes, sweet potatoes, papermaking, and printing, will he go crazy? Well, Ying Zheng's mind has been grasped. Zhao Jun left happily and started to skip work openly. Anyway, she will start working outside every day in the next 2 days, so she will rest for the next 2 days. Having been here for a long time, she had not yet fully explored the Qin Palace. Zhao Jun, feeling quite happy, began to stroll around, looking at the quaint buildings everywhere, with a feeling of strolling through historical attractions. She looked like she was wandering around aimlessly, but deliberately avoided the harem where the palace consort lived. A group of women would inevitably cause trouble, so she didn't seek trouble. However, although she didn't cause trouble, she encountered a troublesome person. Gongzi Fusu. He seemed to have just emerged from the direction of the harem, accompanied by a few attendants. His face was not very good looking, and he happened to collide with her. Should we say hello or not? The eldest son is safe. Let's hit one, after all, she has a filter on Fusu, and besides, he is still a child at his current age. And, you were the person who went to father's palace last time, Fusu stopped and asked. Yes, the young master saw me. Zhao Jun was not too surprised. At that time, although Fusu was kneeling there, his eyes were not blind, so he should have seen him. Father's palace rarely has a female ruler. Recently, I heard that a new imperial female historian has been appointed, so I thought it was you. This surprised Zhao Jun a bit. The eldest son of the state of Qin could even notice a small female historian. It should be said that he had a good memory and did not focus on his official career. I have something else to do, so I won't be able to stay for a long time, he said and hurriedly walked away with his entourage. Zhao Jun turned around and looked at Fusu walking away, shaking his head involuntarily. It is said that in history, the Fusu mansion was kind-hearted and even somewhat lenient, but now it is not a lie at first sight. Even a small female historian can speak with such gentleness and courtesy. However, in the end, there was a lack of royal dominance. The empire needed a gentle crown prince, but could not have an emperor who was too kind. I don't know if he can still correct himself at his current age, but it's probably difficult to remember his biological mother. The next day, Zhao Jun received the seeds sent by Sophia with great anticipation. They were filled with 2 large bags of corn seeds and a bag of tomato seeds. She looked at the seeds piled up in the room with an excited smile and was now waiting to go to the western suburbs. However, before going to the western suburbs, she needs to first visit the famous Jing and Qin Wuyang. Zhao Jun woke up early today because Ying Zheng had previously said he would accompany him to court and personally see the envoys of Prince Dan. She wore the clothes sent by the palace officials before and arrived at the front hall. At this time, Ying Zheng was dressed neatly and ready to go to court. Here we go. Ying Zheng stood in front of a smooth glass mirror, and Zhao Jun knew at a glance that this was what she had exchanged with Ying Zheng before, and there were faint scratches on it that she had used before. De Wang is really imposing today. His domineering appearance makes people dare not look directly at him. I don't know if he knew there was a good show to be staged today. Ying Zheng specially wore a new outfit today, which was still mainly black, but the occasionally exposed lining at the hem was dark red, as if indicating something. Well, I really dare not look straight at you. He looked into the clear mirror and could even see a little bit of sweat on his face, looking up at the mirror with both hands. Of course, the king is so divine. Zhao Jun closed his eyes and began to blow wildly. Okay, then let the world see. No one can stop me from walking. End of this chapter. Chapter 9. Emperor's Wrath. You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. Chapter 9. Emperor's Wrath. Zhao Jun followed Ying Zheng to court. This was the first time she had seen the appearance of the main hall, not far from the front hall where Ying Zheng usually worked. She also walked through the side door of a room and directly came to the front of the main hall. Ying Zheng walked up and sat on a dragon chair. Zhao Jun followed Sun Neishi and stood below, her face calm as she looked at the minister standing not far away. It didn't seem like there were a lot of courtiers described in the TV drama, and roughly only 3 to 4 dozen people. There should be many familiar faces here in the future. She secretly looked at the man standing at the forefront on the left side, who was about 40 years old and had grown a long beard. He looked slightly smiling on his face, but his eyes were shining brightly. This should be the wise and demon-like Prime Minister Li Si. Zhao Jun's gaze turned to the first person on the right side who was also in front. He had a burly figure and sharp eyes, with a face full of vicissitudes and a body full of solemnity. He should be the first general of the Qin state, Wang Jian. Zhao Jun slightly lowered her gaze, and she could probably only distinguish between these two people. It's better to meet the others in the future. Just as Zhao Jun looked around, Li Si had already started reporting. Report to the king, Prince Dan of Yen sent envoys Qin Huang Jinka to present the maps of Fan Yuqi's head and Yen Dukang. The heads and subordinates have already collected them, and only this map is hoped to be presented to the king in person. Li Si bowed with both hands and took a step forward. Accurate. Ying Zheng glanced at Zhao Jun standing next to him. During the Qin Huang Jinka audience, the attendant outside the door shouted loudly, and soon 2 people walked in. Zhao Jun's gaze followed the 2 of them, and it wasn't until they got closer that he could see their faces clearly. Shihuang Jinka paid his respects to the king of Qin. The man walking slightly ahead with the picture said first, and then Qin Huang next to him also paid his respects to the king of Qin. Once he approaches Zhao Jun, he will understand. One of the major reasons for the failure of Jing's assassination attempt in history was that it was originally agreed that Qin Huang would present a plan for assassination, but due to Qin Huang's timidity, he fled and was replaced by Jing. Now that Zhao Jun saw it, he realized that what the unofficial historian said was also somewhat reasonable. This Jing appeared to be a weak scholar, while Qin Huang next to him had a strong and powerful appearance. If it had been Qin Huang who assassinated him at that time, there would have been no future for him. Unfortunately, Qin Huang was a coward. Zhao Jun shook his head without leaving a trace. These 2 people are destined to have no return. The wind is rustling and the water is cold, and the brave man is gone and never returns. You are Jing. Ying Zheng in the seat was also scrutinizing him up and down. It was a joke that this person could force him to run around. Ying Zheng concealed his anger in his heart. It was precisely as a subordinate official that the Crown Prince of Yen was determined to reconcile with the state of Qin. He specially sent us to present the map of the Governor Kong within the territory of Yen. I have long heard of the majesty of the King of Qin, so I specially requested to present it to him. He knelt on the ground with a sincere tone. Jing's face was calm without any signs of nervousness, and he could even solemnly compliment Ying Zheng. His respectful posture and sincere language were impressive. Ying Zheng in his seat couldn't see any joy. If it weren't for him personally sending someone to investigate, he might have been truly moved by his sincere words at this moment, believing that he truly surrendered to the Qin dynasty. His mood at the moment was not good because it reminded him of Zhao Jun's words and the possibility that it might be true. Okay, since you are so sincere, I will allow you to come forward and present the picture. Ying Zheng tightly grasped his hand, and today he will end this possibility. Jing bent down and stood up, carefully carrying the sheepskin blueprint as he slowly approached. At this moment, I didn't know how Ying Zheng felt, but Zhao Jun, standing not far away, felt his heart almost reaching his throat. At this moment, this atmosphere is filled with both excitement to witness history and anticipation for unknown changes. Just a few steps away, Zhao Jun felt that he had walked for several years, and at this moment, everyone's attention was focused on Jing holding the map. Zhao Jun was distracted and secretly glanced at the person below. Qin Huang had not spoken since entering, so he lowered his head and dared not look at the person in front. If he observed carefully, he could even see his slightly sweaty neck. Zhao Jun glanced and lost interest, still focusing on the person in front. At this moment, Jing had already arrived in front of the king of Qin and placed the picture on the desk in front of Ying Zheng. He slowly opened the rolled-up map with one hand. Twice and 3 times, finally reaching out to the enemy. In an instant, Jing grabbed a short knife that was only an inch long and fiercely stabbed at Ying Zheng's chest. In an instant, most of the people's faces suddenly changed. Wang Jian was ready to rush forward. Qin Huang quickly raised his eyes, and the nearby Sun Neishi hurriedly shouted, but there are also some people who appear somewhat plain, such as Zhao Jun, Li Si, and Ying Zheng. Ying Zheng was already on guard. At the moment when his dagger stabbed him, it flashed back quickly, and the sharp short knife only cut through his sleeve. Just before everyone could react, Wang Jian had just taken a step when Ying Zheng took a big step back and drew out the long sword next to the table. In between, a sleeve fell down, and Jing was already lying on the ground, with blood constantly oozing from his heart. A thrilling assassination came to an end in just a moment. Ying Zheng threw a blood-dripping sword without looking at the person lying down. His expression was calm and his tone was plain. "Someone, bury the body, as for him." Ying Zheng looked at the person who had already been suppressed by Wang Jian with tears streaming down his face. "Take care of it and throw it directly into the disorderly burial post." No one can believe that such an assassination was calmly resolved, and some ministers looked at Ying Zheng's calm face, feeling even more unfathomable. The deterrence given by such quiet hunting is enormous. From Jing's assassination to Ying Zheng's counterattack, Zhao Jun stared intently. She thought she might feel nauseous or scared when she first saw a murder scene. But the fact is, Zhao Jun has not had any fluctuations. She even thinks that Ying Zheng is really a good king. People like Jing should settle down in the soil, and Qin Huang is not worthy. However, it is a pity that in future history, there will be no more jokes about the king of Qin circling around the pillar, but rather beautiful stories about the king of Qin fighting back with one sword. Ying Zheng silently turned his head to look at Zhao Jun, who was in a trance. Shouldn't she have been scared out of her wits? It's just killing someone, and as expected, it's still too delicate. Wang Jian. Ying Zheng touched the torn sleeve. "I'm here." Wang Jian, who had turned around, realized something was wrong, but it was no longer important. "I have ordered you to lead a 400,000 strong army to directly attack the state of Yen. If the king of Yen cannot provide me with a satisfactory explanation, then let's destroy the state of Yen." Ying Zheng seems to be able to easily determine the fate of a country, which is the current strength of the Qin state. Zhao Jun looked at Ying Zheng standing not far away and once again felt the man's dominance. No country can stop his pursuit of hegemony. Let's work together with such a shining person. End of this chapter. Chapter 10. Farmland Reclamation. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 10 Farmland Reclamation. The Jinka incident has come to a complete end, and Zhao Jun will also start working outside every day. But before that, what, mirror, have you made a mistake? My contribution value is actually -19. Can you explain what's going on? Why did I not increase but decrease? Did I do something outrageous again? Zhao Jun felt very puzzled and irritable, and she felt like she had been tricked again. Oh, don't get excited yet. It's like this. Your original points were -10, right? And here you made me open a world connection, right? That's another deduction of 10. It should have been -20, but your bread and stir-fry still contribute, so it's -19. I still have to thank you for your emotions, right? But the contribution value of bread and stir-fry is only 1 point. Yeah, this matter hasn't brought much help to many people yet. At most, it's just that you and the people in the palace have improved their food. Okay, Zhao Jun said with a muffled expression. But you don't have to worry, when the corn is planted, the contribution value will still be significant, said the mirror with a hint of flattery. Alright, that's all we can do. I'll leave for now. I made an appointment with Taizong to go to the western suburbs today. Zhao Jun casually tidied up a few bags of seeds and found someone to carry them out of the palace gate. He saw a row of tall and powerful soldiers standing outside the palace gate, as well as an old man wearing official clothes that looked slightly weak. This is Zhao Nushi, right? I am Wang Deng, the commander of Taizong in Xianyang. The king has sent me to assist the Nushi, and everything is at her command. The old man bowed and saluted first. Afterwards, a leading soldier from the nearby army also gave her a simple salute, saying, "Female Xian, I am the captain and leader Xianyang." Zhao Jun looked at the soldiers standing in a row and felt more confident. With so many helpers, he was afraid he wouldn't be able to farm. Hello, the main purpose of the king's invitation this time is to cultivate high-yield crops. I believe that grain yield is very important for our country of Qin, so I hope everyone can listen to my command and stay energized. Yes. The two of them had received the news beforehand, so they naturally dared not underestimate the seemingly weak woman in front of them. The group quietly marched towards the western suburbs and arrived at the place in about an hour. Zhao Jun glanced at the vast land, which was where she temporarily worked. Zhao Jun walked down to the ground and picked up a handful of dry soil with his hand. It seemed fine for the time being, but he still needed to find a way to fertilize the soil. She turned her head and said to Taizong Ling, "You must have planted the land before. You first command the soldiers to dig up all the land and then dig a small hole every 1 foot. Leader Xian, Wang Taizong will teach you how to plow the soil as soon as possible before you can cultivate it." After Zhao Jun said that, the people around him quickly took action. Wang Taizong knew that this trip would involve farming, so he brought a lot of shovel, which was barely enough. The people in the field were busy. Zhao Jun looked around while looking. The efficiency of shovel turning soil is really slow. If you want to promote it in a large area in the future, you'd better build a plow. Even the simple version pushed by hand is better than the current one. After Wang Taizong taught them, he rushed up to her and happened to have something Zhao Jun wanted to ask him. Is there a river nearby? The corn still needs to be watered in the later stage. If there is no river nearby, I don't know where to pick it from. Yes, there is a stream about 3 kilometers away. You don't have to worry about watering it. That's good, by the way. After they finish flipping through that piece of land, you can ask them to change their direction and also flip over the eastern part. Just flip over half of the current area. Zhao Jun has not forgotten her tomatoes yet, so it's best not to be too close between the two crops. Okay, do we need to plant anything else over there? Taizong asked with a hunched head. It's a bit, I'll know when it's planted. Zhao Jun raised his hand to block the scorching sun above his head at noon. When we go back, we need to find someone to build a few simple sheds here, which will be convenient for shading at noon, and we also need to send someone to stay behind at night. Yes, I'll find someone to handle it when I go back. After wandering for half a day, Zhao Jun sat on an empty ground, not caring whether this was indecent. The open land, the hard-working soldiers, the occasional breeze passing through, and the particularly clear deep blue sky make people nostalgic, as if returning to the carefree life of childhood. Indeed, sowing and harvesting are the most reassuring. Time quietly passed, and the soldiers who were farming not far away were already sweating profusely. Wang Taizong had someone go and fetch a few buckets of water, which finally made people feel better. Zhao Jun looked at the sun and felt that it was almost time. Sure enough, after a while, someone came from the east. It's a person from the pantry. When Zhao Jun left in the morning, he greeted Manager AI and had someone bring some bread and stir-fried vegetables over at noon. Now that Director AI has mastered various stir-frying functions, the dishes she makes are not inferior to hers. You're here. On the first day of today, this place is still too rudimentary. Tomorrow, someone can set up a shed and have a place to eat and rest. We may stay here for a few months. Zhao Jun greeted several people who were delivering food and temporarily placed the things on a stone to one side. She looked at the 4 buckets brought, the bowls, chopsticks, bread, stir-fried vegetables, and even a bucket of green bean soup. Zhao Jun was pleasantly surprised, the kitchen was done well. Wang Deng and Xianyang had already felt hungry, especially Xianyang. They were doing physical labor, but as soldiers, they didn't put food on the table, so they had to endure it. Just when everyone thought they were going hungry today, Zhao Jun called for someone to come. Leader Xian, tell your people to take a break. I'll have someone deliver food, let's eat first. Zhao Jun is also hungry. She has already sat on the nearby stone with a bowl and bread in her hand, looking no different from them. Thank you very much, Zhao Nushi. She was very thoughtful. Wang Taicang happily took a meal and sat next to her. Thank you very much, female historian. The soldiers were so excited when they heard about the meal being served that even half a day's fatigue seemed to dissipate. They were full of energy as they lined up and thanked Zhao Jun. The soldiers were not so particular, and after receiving their meal, everyone sat on the ground and began to wolf down. However, on the first sip, they were shocked by the taste of the dish. What kind of food is this? How can it be so delicious? How can this mantis smell? On this day, they opened a new door. Delicious, this dish is really delicious. Isn't this supposed to be a dish that only a king can eat? We can even taste it today. Many soldiers excitedly spoke while eating. Looking again, Wang Deng and Xianyang were speechless. Quickly, a large bucket of stir-fried vegetables was swept away. The person in charge of the barrel said, "This is the stir-fry that Zhao Nushi taught us. It can be eaten throughout the entire palace now. It's not a precious ingredient, it's just a different cooking method. We will have it every day in the future." Surprisingly, it was invented by Zhao Nushi, and many people secretly poked and peeked at Zhao Jun. As a palace historian, I heard she was also favored by the king, so not many people dared to look at her along the way, fearing to offend her. Looking back now, she sat on a stone as big as an ordinary person, without any airs and easy to talk about. At first, everyone who was still a bit drumming in their hearts suddenly felt relieved. Thinking about eating like this every day in the future, I am even more motivated. End of this chapter.